Robocop Rogue City Unfinished Business is a standalone expansion for Rogue City, which released in 2023, and I reviewed last year on this channel. Unfinished Business is more than DLC, but less than a full sequel, making it feel like Rogue City 1.5, and it released in July of 2025. Retailing for $30 US, it took me about 10 hours to finish the campaign while doing the side quests. So, is Robocop Rogue City Unfinished Business worth playing on console? This review is going to answer that question.
Occurred. The perpetrators and the number of victims are as of yet unknown. We will keep you updated, but one thing I can say for sure, I wouldn't want to be in the perpetrators' shoes when Robocop finds them.
Let's begin the review, as we always do, by discussing the graphics and technical performance of Unfinished Business. For graphics, the game looks just as good as Rogue City did, even on console. But I think that in a lot of ways, this game looks even better. The low resolution of the original is gone thanks to the fact that this game takes place in smaller environments, allowing the game to limit how much is happening on screen at a time. But the biggest improvement is the introduction of the freeze weapon. The graphics of this gun is insane, leaving behind frost and ice that covers everything in its path. It's absolutely crazy, and one of the most memorable things I'm going to take away from playing Unfinished Business. Unfortunately, this game has its technical problems just as Rogue City did. There is a ton of stuttering and FPS drops as the game loads in sections of the map as you progress. Rather than breaking things up with crawling sections that break up loading screens, the game will just stutter as you walk, which is pretty jarring. Then, when a lot's happening and the freeze gun is going off and people's body parts are flying around everywhere, the FPS can tank, even on performance mode. Then you have the standard glitches, with enemies bugging out, floating objects, or objects just popping in randomly. The game also crashed a few times during my playthrough, but thankfully the autosave function is pretty frequent, so it was only a quick reload and I was back in the game. Overall, it's a mixed bag for performance and graphics, but I still feel that it's better than Rogue City had been.
All squads, code red. Robocop is here. Backup is needed in the main lobby.
Dear residents, an unauthorized individual has been detected. Please return to your living rooms. Any person staying outside the living room after 15 seconds will be neutralized.
Surrender, or there will be trouble.
You're going down!
Trouble, then.
Alright, the story of Unfinished Business is pretty good. If you didn't play Rogue City, don't worry, you won't be missing out on anything here. Unfinished Business is the story of Judge Dredd going to Peach Trees in Mega City 1 to kill a gang that's selling drugs. Wait a second, that's the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie, but this is basically the same story here. Robocop finds that his precinct has been shot up, everyone is dead, and they stole some tech. He tracks them down to the Omni Tower, which is where this entire game takes place. It's huge and filled with bad guys, and just like Judge Dredd, it's up to Robocop to kill everyone in his way. You also have some flashbacks as Murphy along the way, filling in some of the background regarding the main bad guy. There are some callbacks to the movies and Rogue City, but overall, Unfinished Business is just doing its own thing. There's a handful of side missions you do that earns you experience, but they're super simple, and you can always do them in the small area where you pick them up. Unlike Rogue City, you never have to go back to the precinct between missions, and there's no other locations besides the Omni Tower.
All units in the vicinity dispatch to all units. 187-213, suspects fleeing the scene. Grid plate 117. Blue pickup.
Central Unit 131 responding.
We copy 131. Empty building, suspects are armed, potentially dangerous.
Central Unit 131, on our way.
Central, Unit 143 is joining the assignment.
If you watch my Rogue City review, which I suggest you do, then you know what to expect from Unfinished Business. Robocop is a slow-walking tank that kills bad guys with his Auto 9 or other weapons you pick up along the way. The combat's great, and it's improved since Rogue City, where you have much more enemies throwing themselves at you in waves. It can be a little hard at times, and you really need to upgrade Robocop's health and armor to progress without dying. Apart from the shooting, you can gain experience points to increase Robocop's stats, and there's a minigame where you upgrade your Auto 9, giving you unlimited ammo and auto fire and things like that, so that it mows down everything in sight. By the end of the game, Robocop is unstoppable just as he should be. The game does mix things up a bit, having Robocop do a few investigations along the way. Unlike Rogue City, where you're solving crimes, these investigations are usually looking for where somebody went or finding a missing item. A noticeable improvement over Rogue City is the lack of boss battles against damaged sponge enemies. Instead, it's just hordes of humans to fight, and everyone dies in a reasonable amount of time.
Expose yourself! Engaging.
So let's go through the pros and cons of Robocop Rogue City Unfinished Business on console. For the pros, the game looks really good even on the console version. Shooting the cryo gun down long hallways, freezing everything in your way, pushes the limits of the console, but it's worth it. The combat is just as fun as the original, but with improvements to enemy encounters and bosses. The story is interesting, but straightforward enough that it gets right to the action. Also, even though it's a standalone expansion, you don't really need to have played Rogue City to understand what's happening here. Unfortunately, there are a few cons. There are frequent FPS drops and stuttering as the game loads sections at a time as you move through them. There are some bugs involving enemy AI, pathfinding, and janky physics. It also crashes at times. The side content can be pretty basic, making the game a linear corridor shooter. That may not necessarily be a bad thing, but it can hamper replayability. And that's it for another review. So, is Rogue City Unfinished Business worth playing on console? I have to say, personally, I really like this game. $30 for a 10-hour game may seem to be a bit pricey, but it's worth it for the experience. It's really unfortunate that the game does have a lot of technical issues, and since it's been months since it's been released, I doubt they're going to patch those anytime soon. But if you don't mind the occasional FPS drop or bug, then check out Unfinished Business. I'm the Casual Console Gamer on YouTube, and I'll see you all in the next review.